Amge to Xiaozi Raison Chong, Xian Metal, Duji Pongjiang Wei, Sergi Lambo, or Jibu, Xiaozi Jabu, Shabla Chan, Zelo, Dojin Changjian, de Lonaro, Marva Mela, Chuji Gambo, Pamachava, Javan, Jumba, Gaju Lamano, Zorvan, the Zeringerbo, Sachon Lamali, Chancho Simje, the Semenon and Rovaguna, Panziba, Panda, Ade Shala Zorvan, the Dajant in the Chancho, Mato Vajiba, and Shansom Jinam. show那强求什么叫中华堂强求什么这些东西不是小结巴工对样的那么当这面就这边了农村的沙塘了这样天差不多呢都这样给光帮要他说我当我做课上碰刚过才学的吧我听的这趟的课上都这些要在把但都这些把人都加些当的边强都加都这盘中特别些当都这这些盘中特别我听看到啊我听的他生活人都吐槽红的红景啊那南疆嘛些球是了多 我这他吐槽红的现在让吐开我他让也他们自己的可能被吐开呢红景啊这他没有我们人多他没我们人有他说那结束呢也下水了有的对对我们上班的我这些下水呢都他说那这我这印度他吐槽红的红景啊那么是现在他 他让吐开的发现呢，红景啊是说红些，我们上班在下午去，这还能在上午去，这还能把就当下午看到的，我没啥我的去，上午讲课，的下个路了，经过现在下个讲了吧，我的脑嘛，讲，就当用惯这个吧，你教用过的那个吧，讲。 我听呢，我马了是吧？这路我是路，我听对听呢，我这的红景啊，这种，就当经过可能做趟车的，红景啊，他拿回来是路，下的拿回，没拿回来，经过可能那下个了吧？红景啊，他中国了吧？拿回来，我听对，我他一个钱包听对，5,000多，听对也有吧？别。 要浪的嘞，钱包有吧？要在天那给他去没他嘞，我在成都这么多当过去，我银行呢，南疆马尔现就是南疆那多那里南疆马尔那多，我这些确实我的呢，小人出来用是多的，没些了吧？但是小人出别的用是多的，没些去了吧？没些多些去了吧？多些去了吧？啥嘢？多些苦了，我这都是什么的，差不多了吧？第去吧。 我这拉吃多，我这是上马超的了。我这今年这上手给钱，兄弟们，上山上把这给那做完了下海上的，这时候开始学门的了，啥些？做完了这下海多拼不呢？会说啥的？这时候让他上把这拼不呢，是吧？这时候哪怕去当门的了是，拼不的，等于学门的了是吧？学不也吃的了，我这等于是，这怎么当过来是？我的呢，俺这里我这样出去的，我呢，这给这他牛用嘛不了，是吧？ 我的呢，5趟电吧，让他5趟电吧，我在出去呢，5趟电吧，俺是10几趟5趟电吧，15趟电吧。我这些呢，听说咱们当过去啥的，我这几趟听呢，但忙不这，但我现在了忙不有了，但要做推出去了有嘛吧？这光马些、车马些这样，我咱们这用个话，但这你可听俺是啥的啥的，哎嘛那你。 我当俺这人，他样，
So yesterday we spoke about the aggregates and the elements and the sense sources on page 28. And then next is the protection sphere that is also on page 28. So it says, and before that, we mentioned, in the context of the pure aggregates, that these Buddhas are given names like hatred vajra or attachment, desire vajra, and so on. And so we have said that vajra here means that this Buddha they have the power to destroy. So the power to destroy hatred or the power to destroy attachment. So then next is the protection sphere. From the life force syllable hum and my heart emerge 4 Sumbani mantras. So my heart, myself visualized as Cakrasamvara from that hum syllable. Then the 4 Sumbani mantras that emerge from the hung of my heart, they create the protection sphere in the 4 directions. And so those 4 Sumbani mantras can be found in this text on page 81. So the first of these 4 mantras is black in color. So that's the eastern direction. So it emanates into the eastern direction and generates a black protection sphere there. So normally the eastern direction in the mandala is white, but here this particular Sumbani mantra is black in the eastern direction. And so then it goes counterclockwise. So then after east is north. That's the second mantra on page 81. And that is green. Then in the west, the mantra is red, the third mantra. And the 4th mantra in the south is yellow. And so these are marked with, there's a sphere created by these mantra syllables. So the sphere is marked with the syllables, and the syllables should be visualized or imagined to be extremely large and standing upright in a kind of intimidating gesture, so that no obstructors can enter this protection sphere. And so then it says here, so they emanate into the 4 directions and transform into an indestructible Vajra fence, ground, so a Vajra ground, a Vajra web, tent, canopy, and a dome, wisdom flames, and so on. This all then forms a vast protection sphere, which is solid, secure, and utterly terrifying. It is impregnable to obstruct us, even to Brahma. And so Brahma, because it is said that of all the various godlike beings, Brahma is the most powerful, the greatest one. And so not even somebody like Brahma can cause any obstacles. So this is how invincible, indestructible this protection sphere has become. And so then each of these spheres of protection is radiant with light, and the brilliance of that light prevents any obstructors from entering the sphere.
Then the somebody got it, so okay, you know that's one thing I can go there, Chirwa. One thing I can go there, Hachi. Or this somebody is and no is a laugh, no z. Or there's some nest somebody out in no zero, no zero. Jehana sena, song them. Jehana bias and so song songs here. Anaya horse and other so cold big chair. Cold horse. Banga senata Jumdanirwa, Banga horse and Jumdandi. What that Tonda take Karakoshor Sena, the things are the team Drupa, your Gindurinches, your conke, them short Sajun Deraja, your Gindurinche. Or take them short Sajun Deraja in the one. Dina Carson to Sena. Non said the Trojer book it is, Trojer book gates or gargos, Trojer book gargos. Jehana by a song that he told you what you don't get so much of song case. Or then Anaya said that in Jehana by a set of gates so much of Troja would do and you get so much of cookhouse. Or then Bangavas and that Jim Dandy Troja would get some gargos. Or then we know Jandorkong. So not how could you do?
So then actually it's on page 80 here. So on page 80 is the mantra. So to explain the 4 Sumbani mantra and their meaning on page 80. So the first syllable is the Om, which is the beginning, it marks the beginning of the mantra. And then Sumbani refers to the harm doers, the obstructors. And so then there's twice, so there's 2 kinds. And then Grihana means to seize, or like to catch or capture. And then Anayaho means to summon, or to draw in, to draw back. And then the Bhagavan is the the Buddha, or the transcendent conqueror. So that's it, a general commentary, and then there is an explanation of how this mantra was translated from Sanskrit into Tibetan, from a commentary on the root Tantra of Cakrasamvara by Rinchen Dorje. And so he said that the first word, the Sombani, so that is the obstructor or the harm doer, that is a command to the wrathful king to obstruct all the obstructors, in a sense, to block all the harm doers. And then the Grihana or Grihanabhaya, that is to seize or to catch, and that is a command to the wrathful king seize or capture all the demons, all the evil spirits. And then Anaya Ho, which was to summon or to draw in. So that is again a command to the wrathful king to summon all the obstructors and the harm doers. And no, Bhagavan is the wrathful king, the transcendent conqueror. And so it is a command to this wrathful king to block all the obstructors.
Banzar made om made medicine, Dorje Sajiri, Tasaj. Banzar Bavas and Dorje Terwat Dorje Banzar Bavas and Dorje Rangi, Dorje Saji Dorje Rangi, don't push us. Beda homes and other Banzar Beda homes and Dorje, so Jings, Dambi, and the Jings, you're out and do no question. On Banzar Jakara homes and other Dorje Rava, Dorje Rava. Benza Benzera home bombs and that is Dorje core. What in Benza Beda? Benza Beda and home compro. What it Dorje large setting? What is she? Or then Benza Shalanzola jump sunset in Dorjin Diachava. Or then Mazanzolas and Mazars and Dorje Ranzolas and Barvis on the Horla in Bacana. That made the new master make Milan, a major. What I'm taking on major anarchat. What I think is I was going anarchat made Nimandam Kosho, that I got major. Baron Zola set and Barveton and Bastille. Yanteta, he may point at the Sultan and Yanti, Dorje Ravat, the Sop, the Kanyam, Slotana, he may point to Sudan, gates of Tanu, German, that is Gomgoris. What a Gumdit in it, that's not a Gom Gopayoris. They come as an onion and she do for cheek to the other. The Sanji in the color, the Sanji Jim Dandy, the Mambo, the Chuntu and La Floranga to Dorje, what and down. The champion to be as on you want to do or cheat to be out. So you can't imagine together. Go by your is Zondoa.
Then we go back to page 29, and then there's a mantra here that summarizes the protection sphere in Sanskrit. So the first one is Medini Vacha, right? So Medini means the ground, and so Vajra obviously is the Vajra, and so Baba is the nature. So the ground is Vajra, like by nature. Then Bandha, so Vajra is Vajra, and Bandha is to kind of bind or to tie down, so to shackle, to shackle. So to put on the Vajra shackles, to bind with the Vajra. Then the Prakara is the fence, so Vajra Prakara is the Vajra fence. Then Vajra Bantara is the Vajra, the dome, or like a tent. And then Vajra Vidana is the canopy, Vajra canopy. Then Vajra Sara Chola, this one. So the Sara Chola is the
Saran then that Marekare Banza Saranzola Saranzola Chava Sala Sarakaja Saranzola Sara Kadat Banzara Shararwa Sharanzala Sharanzala Jamson Dojin Da Chavarwa or Dojin Da Chavar.
Shara Sana Dara.
Really, Sharazanda.
So then Vacha Shara Chola, right? The Shara here means the arrows, and the Jola is the net, so it's a web of a net of arrows, of Vajra arrows, a web of Vajra arrows, and
what in Nigon Zola Lapsham, Zala in a Chavano Kogirwa. Zayton Zola in Barwet on the yacht. Jordan Barwet, Zalas and Chavano, Temchoni began Zala.
So this one, the Ombaja Shara Chola, actually there shouldn't be a V, so it's just Jala. So here Jala, so Chwala would mean to the kind of the web, the binding, and what is it? And then the Jala alone would the Jvala means them to blaze, and then the Jala is the web. So here it should be just the Jala. This one is Chvala, and the next one should be Jala only. So the first one, which is just Jala, is the web. So it's the Vajra arrow web. Then the Vajra Chvala, then this one actually is Chvala, that's correct, Analarka. So here the Chvala means blazing. So the blazing Vajra, and Analakara means like a sun or fire. So here in this context it's blazing fire, referring to the wisdom fire. So it's the blazing wisdom fire. So we should think that this protection sphere is an impregnable fence, and nothing can enter it. It is completely dense, and nothing at all can enter it. And the obstructors and hindrances, the harm doers, cannot even come close to it. And so the significance of visualizing the protection sphere is that there is a temporary and the ultimate benefit. The temporary benefit is that by generating a protection sphere, we can pacify different obstacles we may encounter in our Vajrayana practice. And the ultimate benefit is that, for example, at the time of enlightenment of the Buddha Shakyamuni, when he attained enlightenment in Bodh Gaya, the Maras performed various obstacles, appeared in many ways to obstruct his enlightenment, but the Buddha, instead of falling under their sway, he tamed them through love. And so to create this protection sphere also sets the auspicious connection in place for our own enlightenment in this way.
Then that in joke the Ran Herugazi took a someone who wasn't to Lama and followed the Belas on Tujinam Jian Chance, that is Soking Jones, Jian Jigger, that's what Rank Savilama, Yermiba, Kolodumba, Imba, more what is so Jian was run together was it. That's all watching that, do Nampalamadan. That's what Sanji Sama showed was on the Jian Chambazar Samazi, that Jian Chamet, that Hoshusarwa. There is Rank Nicale, Taruta, and Choba the Drugo here. Or then Choba Druhu, that Chi Choba, Nank Choba. Zangwen Choba, Tekunani Choba, Sheyosa, Chinchu Nanchu, Zangwen Choba, what is she zoom news? That's it on some chop, take on a chop, China, they don't want to share around with she, the China. Or the net at it, that's on both in Choba, the Chincho Badella, years, the year, Heruka Sabar, Argamti, Takatanga, Shusara, Sabare, Varazena, Herugata, Heruga, Ravate, them chong, paid them chong, Chandon Corta Jibara, Heruga Chandon, Sabar Varazena, there were Corta Jiba, Sabar. What a chi? That in on budding says it also she has shares. What is so hasn't the Dembona she saw with one another. What in Rinchen the Argan budding bugatti. Chobatas of the Shirochi is set us in Chobazachi. The that Rimajuro, the Rimajuro, Tambo the Pimama, Umbazavene said. Rova? Piman, no Piman. What is the jet lingumas? Pimam Momochi? Lingumas Moji. Nandom Sena de Naman de Rudumat, Marbe, der Wander. Madame Ranz said, Linguma. Ah, really? Wash. No, Samochi Linguma. Really. Young Tendrichi can't water that. Chirang the matter, then check one thing was at it. Tambo can't water it. Yeah, then the thing I to social yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, then Lingma Samo, Nandoma Marmo, Nandom Senan, the Rutum at Marbo. The Zanga sending on the Ruma to Jamo. Then carried the Shemas, a game or Wakimo Shuriate, Marmo. Gaba Massa, Gaba the Richard, Gimo, Hasera, Lasera, or Lumas, another, the same. Mother Hasin, one more, Lassie, Momo. Hasi Marmo, Lassie, Momo. Lumas, Sermo. Lumas, and there are Mazangate says, Karmate, Junk. What in the metoma, or metal canmo. The Buma took a hand talking on her. The Marmera, Marmete Marmo. Chachate Marmo. Menoma canmo. Menoter on Robamadas, Robamadas, Menon Razim. Or then teach the Rasat. The road or the Chandachina, which was a row. Marmore. Didn't want a Rigamada, the Jamo. Or then chewing Dorje, chewing Garmo. Or that's also Kuranso, the Chobati taught or is. I do not remember. What she said. That says a lot to the Karichi. Zanga. Not in the root of Arawa. Say in the root. Lassie. Genderwa Luma. Junarija. Junarija. Jankarwa. Well, that is social Changsen taught is social Changset only. Changset and Chobaja, you're on Chozet Tony and Choba Picker is like 100.
And then, let's see. So then on page 30, then we visualize the field of accumulation. So you visualize that the light radiating from the home at my heart, the heart of myself, appearing as Heruka, invites the Guru and the gathering of Cakrasamvara deities into the space before me. And so you visualize yourself as Heruka. So Heruka is Cakrasamvara. Heruka means also literally the blood drinker or the wrathful one, Cakrasamvara. So from your heart, as Cakrasamvara light radiates, and that invites the Guru, who is also indivisible, from Cakrasamvara, together with all the Buddhas of the various directions, but in the center of them is the principal deity, Cakrasamvara. And so then, having invited them into the space in front of you, before you, you make offerings to them, and pay homage and make offerings. And there is different kinds of offerings. And there is outer, inner, secret, and suchness offerings. So first are the outer offerings, which is on page 31. So we went through several of these mantra syllables already before, but first are first are the outer offerings, which is on page 30, where it begins on page 31. So Saparivara, so we know already Heruka is the blood drinker. Saparivara means together with the retinue, so the Heruka, the deity, together with your retinue. Then, so the offerings we already know, and then the pratitsa means accept these offerings or take these offerings. And then in the end, the soha means kind of with stability, take them like with stability or firmly. And so then you go through each of these offerings like argam and so forth. And so then at the end of each offering we say pratitsa soha, which is basically means accept and partake of these offerings. So all of this on page 31 is the outer offerings. So then next on page 32, still part of the outer offerings are the offerings of the 16 dakinis. So they offer various offering substances. So the first one is Vini, and that means she's blue and holding a guitar. Second one, Vamshe, is the flute and is yellow in color. Mritamge is red in color, and so that's the big drums that you play from left to right. Then the Murache is the smaller drums, so that you play kind of like this, up and down. And that is green in color, so this goddess is green in color. The number 5 is Hasye, which is the laughing goddess that is red in color. Then Lasya is the charming goddess, which is blue in color. Number 7, Kirti is the goddess of song and is yellow in color. Then Nirti is the goddess of dance and is green in color. Then Pushpe is the flower, offerings of flowers, is white in color. Then number 10 is, Dupe, which is the offering of incense, offering goddess of incense, that is smoky colored. And number 11 is the goddess, so that's Dipam, the goddess of light, is red in color. Then number 12 is Gandhi, which is the goddess of fragrant water, who is red in color. Number 13 is Rupa, which is a goddess holding a mirror, a form, is white in color. 14 is Rasa, which is the goddess of taste and is red in color. number 15, Sparsha is the goddess of touch, and she's green in color. And then number 16, Dharmadhatu, is the Dharmadhatu goddess, or queen of Dharmadhatu, of space, and she's or Vajra space, and she's white in color. And then so each of these dakinis holds their individual offering substance in their hands.
근데 건조 수지 부숨 소바요 바로 수지 부숨 소바데 저 다지고 다서 초쇼상로 근데 다지 친초 바래 야 양자자랑 그러니까 어제 초네 컨트롤 라마 tum지마 컨트롤 시요로 숙제마 디시고 손초네 샹아도 더바토네 다한테 초쇼상 딩아 아젠도 벤즈 아르메다스나 엄팅 고지 벤즈 아르메다스나 다들이 도칭아 본자메가선 초치 초비지 사무다스나 다 잔소랑 잔소 자침포 사파라나선 지파나 사마야선 홍선 단색이야 다 소셔이스 와다 나주티야 초바프쇼 나주티야 도시야 노도 초바프도 와지지 와진조라 다시 되게 상면 초반도 다 야면 님바쇼 대통 초바 지송삼된 초바들 서바다 tangatase 도와딩가 서바다 tangatase 디기 과탐지리 안랑가선 제스 샤바 반자스 바바선 도르제 랑지 에마고 선나 다니치 한선 가오 사 어떤지 가오 도르제 다니 가로 어떻게 되는 대통 일미 양바 샤고레스 어떤 상맥 줘봐래 어다 대코나니 줘봐도 다베킹아 차자신보 다베킹아 냠나치네 다 주고 쇼데 어때 대코나니 줘봐 단 줘봐 시지나 안테는 차로 쇼레스 대신 익사다.
So you should think that these offering goddesses, these dakinis, hold the most exquisite and perfect offerings and offer then these offerings to the mandala deities. So all of that were the outer offerings. So then next are the inner offerings, which is on page 33. So again, you visualize that. So before that, you visualize that again from your heart as the deity. Light radiates, and so this time the four main dakinis, the heart dakinis, emanate from your heart, and they each hold skull cups filled with the 5 kinds of flesh and the 5 nectars, which are then offered with the next mantra. So it then says, so present the inner offering with Om Pancha Amrita. So Pancha means 5 and Amrita is the nectar. So the Om again is the beginning of the mantra. And then the 5 kinds of nectar. Then Bhuja Mega is the offering clouds. Samudra is again ocean, a vast ocean. So the ocean. And then Sparana is the vast, the extensive ocean. So oceans of vast offerings and offering clouds. And then, so Samayahung means, please accept these offerings following your Samaya, according to the Samaya. So then at this point, when you recite this offering mantra, you would sprinkle some of the ways, in a language. So you pick up some of your nectar from the inner offering skull cup in front of you with your fingers, and then you kind of sprinkle them into space as an offering gesture for the inner offering. So then third is the secret offering, which is the next mantra. So actually it is the next mantra. So the secret offering is the offering of the empty, blissful nature of that emerges from the union of the Yap and the Yom. So the mantra is Om Sarva Tathagata. So Sarva is all, Tathagata is all the Buddhas, so all the Buddhas. Then Anurakana it means who like look after with affection. And then Vajra Svabhava means the Vajra nature, Vajra-like nature. So Svabhava is the nature. And Atmako means like a kind of self-nature or an embodiment, like a true nature of oneself. And Ham means I am. So that is my true nature. So my true nature is that of Vajra. So here then you abide within a state of bliss and emptiness, and in this way you are making the secret offering. And for the suchness offering, you continue to stay within that state. When you abide within the view of Mahamudra, you are making the suchness offering. So these are the 4 offerings.
Then 다들이 마을 손도 다들 nga 남다제 다 소견이 길을 소소 남사고 nga 남발 타바 먼저 좀나 다전지 디파메게 소전도 어찌지 then 다 진조의 소견이 들어가나 템바지르와 다 딩하진도 엄수바바슈다 서바다는 마스 다들 제량 뭐 수기로 와들이 다 엄수바바슈다 서바다는 마스 수바바시 엄수바바슈다선 엄탱고지 수바바슈다선 다 추탐지 용스타바스 용스타바 용수 다도세 추탐지 서바다르마스 가르친 타르잖아 마주바인 비셔스 마주바인 마주바 어때니 인도테네 소바바 슈도 한세 당 마주바데 랑아오 타바데 랑아오 와 랑이 타바데 랑아오 랑이 타바데 랑이 타바데 랑아오 다들이 다들이간들이다 내려디스다 들이 다 라운드 조그란 릭파 홍기 나데나로 가시는데 니들 다 가시 남배자들이로 라운드 조그란서 다 랑 심리 동배간데 심리 엄가고 마고 홍고로 대치네 홍고보치네 제로 탐지 구성 토레스 제단다 랑 셈동이 킹하는 샤라 대치 근데 로와 탐지 콜로좀 라소시 로와 탐지 콜로좀 가상 휴인바 디 탐지나 대통 다지단은 치 콜로좀 라소시 로와 탐지 되지네 된 콜로좀 라소 대통이미나 대통 그 냐바르하네 대백 휴네 이게 좀템 이게 좀 대다 디 다지단 치시 종이 치발람 쳤어로 나네 어때 이게 좀데 다 홍디 렘시네 이제 홍디 잠시 코방고 온다 세팅 나대 봤어 나다 봤어 같이 송상 네 노랑류 조그나 리파 홍기 나대 타 마카네 슬람 노다데 나다 봤다 지 송sam다 데 치바 추클람자 나다 텔리다 나다 대쇼네 데레타 제 활동 람치아서 쇼세 나다 타 온테케네 워세킹 한다데 돈이가 도저 사기라고 거기서 왔다 와세킹 와 냠바샤다 나다데 화도 놓으셔 그럼 화도 남지 않는 거셔 사리다 누딩정으로 간다 와서디 데려다 제바 제렘스 다 제렘스 제바 줄크와 데 제바 줄크 치디 근데 제바 줄크 들라다 내리마다 제렘 코라는 비 신경 거와 다 내려놓으면 주세요 다들 롱메 추사데 오늘 중앙 시타데레 다들 제 마르시데 예행 강지들이 막 데 어떤 용거와 다 롱메 추사를 라데 나서 배마자랑 선도 어때 전주제 다 딩고들은 더 돈이 하네 도제 사기 라바 코스를 어때 도제 사기 좀 거르도 와 어때 어레티 어다도 좀 양대 다들 소지용 맞아 제시 장체 제렘다 비도 제시 제베스 바티 장체 제렘리 어떤 인도당가 제렘스 쏘다 냠나 치고 쇼랑 안아서 어떤 제렘스 제당다 인가도 이제 제당 담다 가리 요로와 가르잖아다 가상에 마슈인 봐 제당 현도 뭐지 제네 헬을 장야 제당 시 녀질 때는 원장과 친정 공칠 때는 도저히 친정 네 조시알 집어 공치 Drupchö jiya china denda dada di karse dada chuka sumchi sire no. Wada zunchi china da geji zhongchi sire wa tenju ruwa. Wada yendu da jidang azu de zo wada da azu ngechi ruwa. Wada jirem te jidang da de tangbo te jidu den nima no. Tiren dawa no. Wada de chisho de den nyenda de changcho. De digang da nyenda ni wala dada azu ne jirem chiwondu 나다 효지 나다 대 효도 인치 와 상원 효도 와 효도 들이 종인도 어때네 토치 좀바로 왔다 니마 나와 리레친도 가지 안동이 치 다때 리레친 어때네 되네 종인도 들이 토창센스 와 토창센스 댐초에는 가서 도지는 거 홍센데스 들이 저거 용서 봐 어때서리 지금 냐면 지금 되네 가르에서 그 용서 받아 그도 장세한 제 차로 상마들이 많이 용거와 어때인도 돼 가르에서는 다다다 배 니만도 오지나 칸마르 오지 나와 지나 가르 오지 네 인도 되지나 다 전송쇼 다다디 어두 남시제 요와 어두 남시듯이 되네 또 장세한 다제 아메리카 발리도 제 회원의 도지에 염정도 부모이나在体育业或者甚至老出游泳种多少被下头的这种送学啥的，我这个用手吧，这嘛结尾团的，这对俺说接着没有光他们的，过来说他可创是吧
？So then, kind of moving ahead to then the next page. So on page 35, then, so we have visualized the refuge field, so the field of accumulation, and so then at the end, then after the 5 purities on page 33 and 34 is an offering of the 5 purities of taking refuge and so forth and cultivating bodhicitta. And so after those 5 impurities, then on page 35, then the field of accumulation dissolves into me. And so this is actually then where the actual generation stage begins. So with that mantra on page 35, so Om again is the beginning of the mantra. Then Svabhava Shuddha means completely, utterly pure. And then what is completely pure? Sarva Dharma, all phenomena are completely pure. And so how are they completely pure? They are pure because their true nature is uncontrived or kind of uncreated, unfabricated. And then Svabhava Shuddho, again, is the completely pure. And Ham is, that's me. So I am by nature completely pure. My true nature is completely pure. And so then, moving on to page 36. So then here, on page 36 are 3 levels of attaining enlightenment in the Bardo, as Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya. So first it begins with, my body gradually dissolves, so that's the completion, in the completion stage. My body gradually dissolves into the awareness hum, which then remains in space in the form of another string. So first, regarding this first line, so from you have dissolved into, you're completely empty. So previously with the Om Svabhava mantra, everything became empty. So then from within this state of empty mind, then appear, so this is not in this text, but in the more extensive text, these 3 syllables Om Hung, so white Om, red A, and blue Hung. And so from them, light radiates and it transforms all sentient beings in the universe into the mandala deities of the 3 wheels, and think that they all experience a state of emptiness and bliss. And so then this bliss then melts into light and then dissolves, is scattered back and dissolves into the 3 syllables. and then the 3 syllables dissolve one into the other. So the Om into the A and the A into the Hung, and then the Hung dissolves into itself, starting from the bottom part, the vowel, the hook at the bottom of the Hung, all the way up to its highest part, which is the nada string. So when the Hung then dissolves into the nada string, so this section is the taking the Dharmakaya of death as the path. And through practicing this, we train the mind in the death process. So in this way, we're practicing with death. We're taking death as the path. And so as a result of that, we become a Dharmakaya. We dissolve into the Dharmakaya in the first bardo. So this is the first line. Then the second line relates to the Sambhogakaya in the bardo, and that is so from the luminous and empty natural sound of all phenomena arises an instantly blazing protection sphere of Vajra ground, fence, tent, web, canopy, and masses of fire. So this is related to attaining enlightenment as a Sambhogakaya in the bardo. So because the Sambhogakaya is related to luminosity. So then due to the luminosity of the Dharmakaya, then appear the immeasurable boundless palace and the protection sphere of Vajra ground and so forth. And then the next line, starting with at its center arises space, wind, fire, water, earth, and so on. So that then relates to the Nirmanakaya, when one actually takes birth. And so this is also where then from this state of completion arises again the generation. So then again the deity is generated, and that is related to taking birth as a Nirmanakaya. So then we build up the entire mandala with the palace and so forth completely. And so that is the generation stage, the visualization trains the mind in the way in which we take birth. And so you mentioned before, there's different ways of taking birth, and that is really the main thing that we need to train in. It's the way in which we take birth in the generation stage. We mentioned the other day that there are 4 ways in which one can take birth. And corresponding to those, there are 4 kinds of generation stage for training in each of these ways of taking birth. So the first one is taking birth through a womb, and the generation stage related to it is called the 5 manifest enlightenments. The second way of taking birth is through an egg, and the related generation stage is called the 4 vajras. The third way of taking birth is through heat and moisture, and the related generation stage is called the 3 rituals. And then the fourth way of taking birth is miraculous, and the related generation stage is the instantaneous, miraculous generation of the deity. And so in our case, since we are all born from a womb, the principal generation stage, therefore, is the 5-fold, the 5 manifest enlightenments. And so what are these? The first one is we are generating the seed of the deity. So the seed consists of number 1, the sun disk, which is the first manifest enlightenment. The second manifest enlightenment is the moon disk on top of the sun disk. Then the third manifest enlightenment is the seed syllable that then enters that union of sun and moon. So on top of the sun and the moon disk is the seed syllable, which represents also speech, because it's the syllable. And the fourth manifest enlightenment is related to the mind, and that is the implement. So in this case, from blue hung, blue hung becomes then a vajra. So the hung, which is the seed syllable, then becomes the vajra, which is the implement here. And the fifth manifest enlightenment is then the complete form. So then from this vajra grows the complete form of the deity with its color and implements and ornaments and so on. So what these really represent is the sun represents the red subtle element. The moon represents the white subtle element. The seed syllable represents the bardo consciousness. And the mind implement, which is the vajra, represents the embryo, the fetus and the embryo growing in the womb. So it is said that if the child is a boy, then first the embryo kind of grows into kind of a vajra-like shape in the beginning. So before it's even a human form. So the first shape it takes on is a vajra-like shape, and if it's going to be a girl, then it takes on a bell-like shape in the womb of the mother. So that's the fourth manifest enlightenment, and the fifth one is then the complete form. So then the fetus grows into an actual human being, and then the human being is born. So that is the completion of the generation stage. And so if we train well in the generation stage, then as a result, we will accomplish the form, the body of the deity.
다 대치도 장아서 세바스는 다 세바 타바선 다 공부 세바테 다 군도 창세도 차람 나야고고 나라랑이 맞로 나라랑이 맞로 공부 어디 세바 타바스는 다 렉 군도 창세도 정말 다들 이제 연태를 되는데 demcho anande 군도 티가봐 지견주로 들어봐 추인주로 하면 군도 티가다 추인주로 하면 군도 티가 어디 차니 도저히 집에도 답시라 너무 소쇼래 어디네 다보자야 다음에 지견 켜봐 쳐든도 소쇼래 어디 도저히 방문이나 다 군도만 못해 로바지 차반도 소쇼래 어디 지단 여명이 뭐 성도 주고这当 先我就直接通성도 줘 봐. 대통 성도 줘 봐. 어디서 단 성쇼래.这当때 나통 성도 줘 봐. 맞아 풀반인데东西 너무 야비제 투담가. 너무 염제 투담가서 라표반인데. 어때? 대주 성쇼래다. 어디지? 어디 코난코난 군도 청세 정말 연대래 여러분. 어디지? 되네 ngajar den baseta 그 라인 삼레다 제오 요베가 야고래 테미나서 딱 그들이나 하이 삼레티 맞아 맞고 그 소소 할 같이 하면서 제렘 제오 ngajar 미나 락 나와 차트 쇼사 말이야 어떤디 그들이나 ngajar 제 로차 베자 투로스코나 락 지야 차로 소소선 도쇼삼 투로제 코나 락 지야 차로 너무 지야 차요라서 소소선 도쇼삼 사마사나 tsok라지 삼 어떤디 삼노 당 칸톱톱 치고 쇼사리 어떤디 테네스 제람 tempo 차 펜쇼사 어떤디 나와사 차관아 전토 탐지 추크 어떻게 나온다 야면 칸톱톱 치고 어떤디 진도 당가서 주소시라만도 텐디 딱 아주 로다 화제 치기로 와 오샤단 텐디 나살로테라 투소 좋은 사르비지 로지만디 좀마 치토야 제가
So then when you practice the generation stage, you visualize the deity. The generation stage possesses three aspects. These are clarity, purity, and stability. Clarity means that you should clearly visualize the form of the deity. So the deity is colored, implements, and so on clearly should appear in your mind. But while it appears clearly, also you should understand that it lacks any substantial, any inherent existence, this disappearance of the deity. So that's the clarity. Then the purity means that you recollect the purity of the deity. So that means that the appearance of the deity that you have visualized with the deity's color and implements and so on, all of these elements, the symbols that make up the deity, the outer appearance of the deity, each part represents a certain enlightened quality in the deity's mind. For example, in the context of Cakrasamvara's body color is blue, dark blue, and the significance of the color blue is that it represents the changeless nature of the Dharma Dhatu. And then Cakrasamvara holds Vajra and bell in his hands, and that is a sign of the union of method and wisdom. And then his hair is bound up into a top knot, and that is a sign of his freedom from mundane activities or mundane concerns. His consort is Vajravarahi, who is red in color, and here she symbolizes the great affection that the deity has for all sentient beings. Then the union of the Yab and the Yum is a symbol representing the true nature of the mind, which is a union of clarity and emptiness, or bliss and emptiness, or appearance and emptiness. For example, in the Vajrakilaya practice, in the amendment part, it says, or restoring the Samaya part, it says the Samaya with appearance, the father or the Yap, is restored, and the Samaya with emptiness, the Yum or the female, is restored, and so forth. So anyways, each of the implements of the deity represents a certain quality of the deity. So that is the recollection of purity. And then third is the divine pride, or the stability, which is a confidence of I really am the deity. And that's most important. Even if your visualization is not so clear, that's still more important. Even if your visualization is clear, if you do not have the confidence of actually being the deity, then the deity that you practice is not really authentic. You don't really become the deity. So therefore, it's more important to have this divine pride or confidence of being the deity than to have a clear visualization. Of course, if you have a clear visualization, that's excellent. But you should never separate from the awareness of actually being the deity, because this is really how you place an imprint of being the deity into your mind. So therefore, in whatever you do, sustain that awareness. For example, when you get dressed in the morning and you put on your clothes, think that you're donning the deity with the various jewels and divine ornaments and garments and so on. Or when you eat food, think that this is a feast offering to the deity, and so forth. So practice in this way the awareness of being the deity as much as you can in whatever you do, because that will really help you stabilize the generation stage. And so then ultimately, all appearances become the deity, all sounds the mantra, and all thoughts the play of dharmata. So anyways, the time seems to be running out, but so we can't really finish everything now. But anyways, we're doing this every year. So for this year, the time seems to be over, but we can finish the rest next year.
야, 근데 다 저기서 왜? 저 중이 있어. 야, 안 단지 근데 정말 두지 지했어. 정말 냠내 보면 두지 용이 아래와 대보지 보면 아래와 두지 지했어.
So then that's it, and thank you everyone, and I hope that you all practice well and that you will be well. I hope that we'll be able to finish the sadhana next year. Om Shri Bendrae Om Nagenen Zolam Savaram Sova Om Shri Bendrae Guru
Gāgēni dzūla sā vāram sōva Om shiri benza he ruruka Om be Gāgēni dzūla sā vāram sōva
We will return after a 2-hour break at 2 p.m. Arizona time for our final Drupchö of the Cakrasamvara retreat. Thank you very much.